years I bled for my family's biotech firm. I built the machine learning architecture that predicted cellular mutations with unprecedented accuracy. It wasn't just my job, it was my life's work. Then, my parents sold the company to a ruthless pharmaceutical conglomerate for $2 billion. I didn't find out at a family dinner. I found out in a sterile, glass-walled boardroom. My father slid a termination agreement across the mahogany table. "It's just business, son," he said, his voice completely hollow. "The new owners want a clean slate. Your ethical reservations about their rollout timeline are a liability." The conglomerate wanted to skip phase 3 clinical trials for our flagship diagnostic tool. They wanted to rush it to market to satisfy their shareholders and instantly boost their stock. I had flat out refused to rewrite the core safety parameters to allow it. It was dangerous. A false negative could cost a patient their life. Because I blindly trusted my parents, my equity was tied up in a verbal promise. "We're a family first," they used to say, but sitting in that room, family meant absolutely nothing. They were legally severing me from the technology I built from scratch. "You're making a catastrophic mistake," I told my mother as I stood up. She just sighed, adjusting her new designer watch. "Grow up. The world runs on capital, not morals. Don't be so naive." I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I packed a small cardboard box and walked out with $0, leaving behind a billion-dollar empire. But I kept my principles intact. 3 weeks passed in total silence. I watched the news from my tiny apartment. The conglomerate was hyping an early product launch, pumping their valuation to record highs. My parents bought a $15 million yacht in cash. Then, on a Tuesday morning, my phone started ringing off the hook. It was my father. When I finally answered, his voice wasn't just trembling. He was hyperventilating. "What did you do to the mainframe?" he demanded, panic dripping from every word. I hadn't done anything malicious. I hadn't planted a virus or a logic bomb. I'm a professional. I just hadn't told them about the foundational, ethical failsafes deeply woven into the system's architecture. "I didn't do anything, Dad," I answered calmly. "The predictive models are completely locked," he yelled, dropping all professional pretense. "The buyers can't process a single diagnostic test. They can't access the core algorithm. They are threatening to sue us for fraud." I leaned back in my chair, staring out the window. The system was designed to protect patients above all else. It strictly required the lead architect's encrypted authorization to temporarily bypass the safety protocols for incomplete datasets. When my parents fired me and aggressively wiped my credentials from the servers, the system did exactly what I programmed it to do if compromised. It permanently locked the predictive models. It sealed the algorithm to prevent faulty, untested diagnostics from ever reaching a hospital. "The system works perfectly," I told him over the line. "It just refuses to let you hurt people for a profit margin. I told you I wouldn't compromise the code. You have to come back and unlock it," he begged, his voice cracking. "The $2 billion is in escrow. We'll lose everything." "I can't," I said. "You deleted my administrative access. The zero trust encryption is hard-coded." "It's gone, Dad. The code is doing exactly what it was meant to do." I hung up the phone and blocked his number. 3 days later, the conglomerate pulled out of the acquisition. They filed a massive, very public lawsuit against my parents for gross misrepresentation and breach of contract, locking up their remaining assets. The $2 billion evaporated overnight. The yacht was repossessed before it ever left the dock. My parents were willing to trade their only son for an empire. They just forgot who built the throne.